ask this question for sure. Convince me I am wrong in under a minute. In education, there isn't room for fun. We have too much content to cover. Fun and joy are wastes of time and do not matter.
Ugh, I'm all feeling all hot and sweaty now.
Clearly, I believe that, of course.
Okay, so I think that fun is a precursor to learning. And that's something that I'm seeing in the data from my research is that fun might not be directly related to these amazing learning outcomes, but it has to come first to remove barriers so students can get to these learning outcomes. So students come in with these barriers of having a stressful day, current or past trauma, fears, fear of making a mistake, fears of vulnerability, fears of public speaking in front of their peers. I don't know, they bring in a lot of barriers. And so I found that fun actually removes those barriers. And so they're able to access the content when they're ready and when it feels safe. And so fun brings in laughter and joy, creates community, creates safety. When the classroom is warm and safe, students learn better. So I think because you have all that serious content and so much to cover, you can't not have fun and play in your classroom, because it's almost like you're working twice as hard to like jam the content down the students' throats. Whereas if you just use a little play and fun up front, it removes all the barriers and they do better learning on their own. So it kind of increases that intrinsic motivation. I don't know if that was under a minute.
I don't know either. I forgot to start a timer. So
it was like a minute, 10 seconds. That was really good.
Okay. Perfect.
Not that I was timing.
I have a follow-up question, and then I want to hear David's answer too. So do you think that given our current pandemic context, fun is even more important?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was this study I did was in the middle of the COVID pandemic, not intentionally, it just happened that way. And so half of it was in person, half of it was online, like during all this. And that was the one thing students said, like, I'm so stressed out. I can't focus on my learning right now. I don't want to be in class right now. I have so many worries. But when we started the class with that goofy Wacky Bird game, I just felt like a breath of fresh air and I could relax. And then I was ready to learn. So, I mean, I think it's important all the time. But right now, 2020 is like a very stressful year for a lot of people in a lot of ways. So I think it's even more so.
I think Lisa deserves a prize for bringing Flappy Bird into the educational technology.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, so.
All right, David, you ready for your 1 minute or less?
Mine's even simpler. The first response is the assumption is groundless. There's just no evidence to support the claim that fun should be excluded. There's just none. I mean, I would just say, if you want to make this argument, show me some evidence. There's none. There's plenty to the other side. Second thing I would say is this whole idea that there's no room for human connection and joy in the classroom because of content grossly misunderstands education, and because all the content is out there now. The content, we don't own the content. We are no longer the ivory tower with all the content. So if we are not engaging people in the social situation that is actually learning, then I think we've made a mistake. And I would say, what social interaction are you a participant in that doesn't have joy and play and fun that you actually like? I get getting pulled over by the police as a social interaction is not one that we like. I also get that hanging out with your friends and family and doing stuff is joyful and full of love and play, and that's what we want. Why don't we model the things we like in our social situations in the classroom?
So are you saying that play and fun could be routes to keep higher education relevant?
I think, I don't think they're the route, but I think they are absolutely a route. I think, listen very closely to what Lisa's talking about, because she's digging down into those roots. And I think some of the roots we have, I mean, I think we've known for a long time that the relationship between the professor and the students, or the teacher and the students to students is important. What Lisa's encountering and exploring are ways that we can use play to build those connections across culture, across, gender, across, other kinds of identities, across race. It's incredibly powerful because people have been playing since there was a thing called people. And the fact that we don't tap into that is bizarre.
That was more than 1 minute.
No, that was a follow-up. I didn't have
Okay.
it.
fair.
The initial was at 61 seconds. That
Oh,
was
okay.
Wow.
that was
Better
pretty
than
good.
mine.